Hello and welcome to episode 210 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is November 27th, 2023. And today I'm wearing the crochet shawl that I showed as a finished object last week. And I think it's the first thing that's quite obvious is that the edge is a lot straighter now. It doesn't curl in anymore as much. And this is what it looks like if I wrap it around several times or 2 times. And this is what the shawl looks like in its entirety. And I think it's also very, the change after blocking is quite obvious. I hope you remember what it looked like last week. Otherwise you could have a look at last week's video. But I'm really happy with how this turned out after blocking. So I crocheted with hand-dyed yarn. This was the first color and this was my second color, and in the middle I alternated between the 2 colors, not very regularly, so I would make changes every now and then. Yeah, and I'm really happy. It's not quite as tiny anymore. It's not huge either, but that's okay, and I'm, as I said, really happy with it. The pullover I'm wearing is quite old. I think it's probably, I wanted to check it. I think it's about 8 years old. It's fairly long. It's a very simple pullover compared to most of the other things that I knit. And I knit it back when I was still working at Wolldackel at the yarn shop. And this was one of their yarns that they used to carry. They may still have it. It's called Classic. And it's a mix, I think, half wool, half acrylic. And I knit it as a top-down raglan pullover with a V-neck. And that was back when I still thought I might someday write patterns, and I thought this could be sort of a basic pattern for this yarn, and then you could play around with different colors or stripes, or you could put in different patterns. That's why I designed it very simply, and back then I had the plan of designing a very simple pullover for each of the main yarns that we were carrying, but that was a long time ago. Never happened, and I've since realized that I do like to design something every now and then, but I'm just incapable of writing down patterns, so I won't do that. Yeah, that's what I'm wearing today, something old and something new, and yeah, like the way the 2 go together. On to finished objects. I have I have sort of 2 finished objects. I'll start with the older one. I finished another pair of banana socks. And it's a finished object, but it's not a finished project, because the project page that I made for these socks, I am planning to knit 4 pairs of banana socks, and this is pair number 3. So I have to finish 1 more pair to actually have a finished project. But I'm very happy that these banana socks are done. They are for one of the daughters of one of my cousins, and without having to do anything special, the colors ended up being in different places, which is something I like. The sock blockers that I have in at the moment are bigger than the size shoes that she wears at the moment, so she can wear them for several years, I think, at least where the size is concerned. If she walks them through before they are too small, they're probably never going to be too small. I think they are big enough that she can wear them even when she's finished growing. So that's the plan, and then she can wear them until she wears them through, and that's good too. And then I can knit new socks for her. Yeah, this is one of the colorways, the black dragon colorways by Opal. I really like the colorway, and very happy I got to knit it. So that's one of the finished objects, and the other finished object is a tiny little thing that I knit in order to film another tutorial video. And I think last week I showed you the hatband that I had knitted, but I think I forgot to explain why I made it at the end of the video. And that was when I talked about the new knit along that started last week for the haramaki and the reversible hats. I meant to explain that I only give you the numbers for the like normal haramaki, the way they are made and used in Japan. And I think for as a hat or as a cowl, they work for everyone. But if you want to wear it as a belly warmer, I think it's going to be too small for a lot of people. So in order to make a belly warmer for yourself that needs to be bigger, it's possible to use a crochet chain to figure out how many stitches you need and then start with a provisional cast on and knit your haramaki as a belly warmer that way. And to test this theory to see how it works, that you use a crochet chain to figure out the measurement. That's why I knit the hat band, so I could measure my head with that crochet chain. Then I knitted double the length that I needed, and then I sewed beginning and end together so that the inside of the hat band sort of disappears, and I have the two ways of wearing it, the way I explained last week. But it was meant to be used as a haramaki as well. And to show how that works, I knit a tiny little haramaki, this one. And I show and explain how to do the crochet chain, how to measure around the hip, and then you can knit one half and then you can knit the other half downwards. I don't show the second half and I don't show the complete first half. I just show how to get your stitches out of the crochet chain, knit in one direction, then I undo the crochet chain and knit and explain that you can then knit into the other direction. But I actually finished this off camera and it fits my little doll, my little doppelganger. And yeah, so this is kind of a finished object. And the tutorial video that I made with the start of this haramaki will appear on Thursday evening, German time. So in case you want to knit a belly warmer for yourself and you don't have like Japanese proportions, then you can use that video. And you can use it also for haramaki that you knit sideways. So you could use the crochet chain to determine how long you want your belly warmer to be. Then you can knit until it fits around your belly or around your hips. And then you can undo the provisional cast on. You can either do a Kitchener stitch to sew them together, or you could do a 3-needle bind off to attach the beginning and the end. And you can have a haramaki or belly warmer that's knit sideways. So that's the reason my little doll got a haramaki. And yeah, this is sort of my second finished object for today. Then on to works in progress. And sometimes my plans work out the way I told you last week, and sometimes my plans don't work out at all. So instead of trying to finish as many projects as I could, I actually didn't finish any of my projects, just one finished object. And but I still cast on loads of new things. So today you are going to see quite a few projects that you haven't seen before, and you won't see a lot of the projects that you did see during the last couple of weeks. So yeah, not at all the way I expected things to work. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just trying to figure that out. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, but let's continue with my socks. You actually know that project. That's the Squiggley Madness socks with no squiggly and less madness. But these are his socks for my sock couple this year. I really have to get a move on with these, so I get them finished in time to send off for Christmas. Didn't get too much done last week, but I really want to finish the first sock this week and start the second one, so that I can, as I said, finish them in time. But really happy I did finish one color repeat in the foot. So this is what the colors look like if you just knit stockinette. They just look a little different if you knit ribbing, but it's not that big a difference. And yeah, like the elephant color from the Rainforest series by Opal. That's the only pair of socks for this section. I also only knit a little bit on my second fingerless mitt that I'm knitting as part of the pattern battle. So with every box of Opal subscription yarn, abo yarn, one color is chosen, and everybody taking part in the pattern battle has to knit with this color but uses a different pattern. And I started the thumb increases for the second mitt, so I'm using different color beads for the second mitt, and I managed to actually start a left mitt. So because of the reverse stockinette on the inside of the hand and the placement of the thumb, this is very obviously a right mitt, and this is a left one. Yeah, so as I said, just a few rounds, but I got the increases started, and once I've done that, it's easier for me just to pick it up every now and then and add a few rounds. The next, or maybe I can just mention what I did not knit on. So I didn't knit the tiny little knitted squares that I'm knitting for this old school friend. I did not continue knitting on the Geogradient. I did not knit the summer top, and I did not crochet on my summer pullover. So maybe because these are summer projects, they're not quite as important, urgent right now. But I will try to keep knitting and crocheting on them every now and then so I don't forget about them completely. But last week, as I said, just too many new things happening. I continued knitting my the arm warmers or wrist. These are not wrist warmers, these are like complete arm warmers. Don't exactly know how to call them. So this was on the needles last week. I just cast it off and continued knitting on the second one. So there's just a little bit more to do, then that will be finished. But I also started knitting the slip over or sleeveless pullover that I'm knitting with the same yarn. So this is 8-ply Opal yarn. This is a color from last year, so probably not available anymore. But this is, the German pattern is called Suchtlappen. It's not, as far as I know, it's not available on Ravelry, but there's a YouTube video explaining how to knit this, and it's really simple. So all you do is you find out, or you determine the number of stitches that you want to knit, so it goes around your front and back with the amount of ease that you want. So I cast on 20 more stitches than I knit for the pullover out of the same yarn, just a different color that I knit last year. And because I want it fairly wide, I want it fairly long. Then you knit some ribbing, then you knit stockinette stitch until you reach the armhole, and then you just knit the front and back up in ribbing and then sew the shoulder together, and that's it. So it's a really simple knit. You may be able to knit along just from what I'm showing you here. I will be adding some short rows that are not in the pattern because I decided, as I want it to be fairly long, I want it to be even longer in the back than the front. So the short rows that I will be adding, they are just improvised by me. There's no pattern for them. But I want a nice bit of ribbing before I do the short rows, and I'll do the short rows, and then there'll be quite a bit of stockinette until I reach the armholes. So I am knitting those two parallel the way I thought I might. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to those two projects. Then one of the new projects that I started is a test knit that I'm doing for Yuki Knits for Faye, and that was quite a funny story because when I first read about the test, I'm on her list of testers, so I got a message that she is looking for preview knitters for this knitted square, but when I first read it, she already had enough testers. So I wrote to her and said, well, sorry, I'm too late, but maybe you can let me know when the pattern appears. I really like it. And then she wrote back and said, oh, you can join the test. It's okay. So then she sent me the pattern and I wanted to start, but I couldn't. It's supposed to be a DK weight square, but I couldn't find any colors that I was happy with. So I decided to use fingering weight yarn. So my square is going to be smaller, but the pattern itself is going to be the same. And I decided to use this colorway of sock yarn. It's called Drops Fable Print. I ordered it many years ago, no idea when and why, but I really like the color, and I'm going to use these two colors as my contrast colors. So the square has a main color in the middle and then two contrast color on the outside, and it's an interesting pattern. So there's always something happening. So this is the beginning of the square. I really like the way this looks, but the border is really the main focus of these squares, and the pattern is called Maximalist in contrast to the minimalist borders that you often see on projects. And she says she got tired of all these simple things and she wanted something a little more interesting. And you know that I enjoy knitting patterns and I don't like things to get boring. So I was really interested in that pattern, and I'm really looking forward to adding the two contrast colors to make that square even more interesting. And once the square is done, it sort of looks like a crochet square, but it's a knit one. So for all the people who sort of like the look of crochet squares but can't crochet, this might be a good idea. So that's one of the new cast-ons, apart from the slip over and the Mini-Haramaki. And then there's another project that I started, and that's a project that I've been planning for a long time, but never got round to starting it. And then one of my students in my shop, no, there were several students who got together and they all wanted to learn how to knit double face. So I taught them how to do double face knitting, it's double knitting in English. I always get it confused because in German we say double face, which is an English word, but it's a German expression for double knitting. So I taught several people how to do double knitting, and I like to knit along. So I remembered that project that I had been planning for a long time. So I got that yarn out and I started the cowl, and I'm using those two colors from Hansa Farm. It's the alpaca silk mix that they sell, and the pattern that I'm knitting is called Remember. It's by Nathan the Sockmatician, and it's a cowl that's sort of black on one side and red on the other side, but then it has poppies, different amount of poppies around the cowl, and it's a beautiful pattern. And I'm just trying to find the one spot where I started the pattern. So far most of it has been one color one side and one color the other side, and this is the bit where the pattern just started. So I have a bit of black on this side and a bit of red on this side, and so it's on the black side that you have the red poppies, and then on the red side you certainly have the black poppies, which is also interesting. Yeah, but as I said, I wanted to knit this for a long time. I used the cast on that the Sockmatician also teaches on his YouTube channel, which just looks as if it was knitted through, which is fantastic. And I'll be using the same bind off that he teaches, so you can't really tell a difference. You can't really see the cast on or cast off. It just looks as just like a knit fabric that goes round and round the cowl with no beginning and end. Yeah, so this is the reason I had to start this side. There was a good reason for all the new cast-ons. Yeah, then I'll show you something that you do know, and that's my V-back tee. And I told you that I decided to finish the sleeves in color 3. And I've actually finished the first sleeve. So I had knit the color 2 into both the sleeves. So last week, both sleeves were this long. And then I added the color 3 on this sleeve, and I didn't even weigh my leftover yarn. But I'm just so convinced that there's enough yarn that I didn't even check. So this is what the sleeve looks like now. And I think I can be pretty confident that this pullover should be finished by next week, because it's just half a sleeve to knit. It's not a big deal, and I don't have to try it on every 5 rounds because now I know how long the sleeve needs to be, so that makes it easier for the second sleeve. And then I'll have a pullover, really, really looking forward to it. It's a fairly light pullover, so wearing it now in winter, I'll have to wear enough underneath and on top. But that's okay. I have loads of shawls and stuff, so that should be fine. So that's that. And then, as I said, the other two pullovers I'm knitting for myself, I haven't worked on this week, but I finished. Maybe I should have shown that with the finished project. Completely forgot about that. But anyway, I finished the changes in my son's pullover. So this is the flax sort of medium. It's neither the flax nor the flax light because I use DK weight yarn or 6-ply sock yarn. And my son had complained that the neck opening was too wide and he was getting cold on his shoulders. So I cut out the ribbing, caught all the stitches, and then used the reverse stockinette stitches from the sleeve, knitted them back and to and fro, and always knit the last stitch together with one stitch of either front or back. And then this created this sort of saddle shoulder running across both shoulders. I think this way you can see how the garter stitches run up the shoulders. And then when I got to here, he said it was close enough to his neck, and we've decided, or he asked me to knit just like a simple ribbing for now, and then he wants to wear it a few times. And if he decides he wants a rolled neck after all, he asked me if it was possible to still change it. And I said, of course I can. I could just undo the cast off and knit more ribbing. But for now, he decided this is what he wants. And I think I'm going to wash the pullover now, and then he can wear it a few times, and then we'll see what he decides. Otherwise, this is just a very boring and simple black flax pullover. But black is the color that my son likes to wear. So this is what I made for him. So that is that, and that already brings us to the knit-alongs. So this is finally going to be a shorter video again after the long ones that we had in the past. But anyway, so the one knit-along that I'm running on this channel and in the Ravelry group are the banana socks. And as I said, the project that I put on Ravelry includes 4 pairs of banana socks for 4 of the kids of 2 of my cousins. It's a bit complicated, but anyway. So this is the last pair for them, and I'm using this color wave out of the Black Dragon series. This is, I think, my favorite color from the 4 colors I was knitting, and that's why I kept it for last, so that when I'm sort of getting tired of knitting banana socks, then at least I can knit my favorite color. And I've started the first sock and knit a few of those stripes. And yeah, there's quite a bit to go on. And I'm not in a rush to get these done. I just want to make sure I keep knitting on them so they do get finished at some point. And I'm still thinking of knitting a pair of banana socks for myself, even though I really do have enough socks. I could declare them to be guest socks for our house. I think that's what I'll do. Then I can keep them. I might even wear them, but I don't have to wear them. I can make my guests wear them. So that's that. And then for the other knit along, where we are either knitting haramaki or reversible hats, I decided to start with the hat. I will knit a haramaki for myself as well while we have the knit along going, but I wanted to start with the hat. And my original plan was to knit a hat that goes with these gloves that I knit about 6 years ago, I think. And these are my favorite gloves to wear when I ride my bike. So I can still feel things and touch things, but my hand stays warm. And I know that for a long time I had the leftover yarn from these mitts lying around somewhere to be knit into a hat. But now that I wanted to knit the hat, I couldn't find it. So I found the black yarn that I'd always wanted to use for the second half of the hat, but I couldn't find the leftover yarn. And Right now, I'm thinking that maybe I used the yarn for something else. I know that I crocheted 1 or 2 squares for my green blanket because there's some green in the yarn, and I might have just used it for something else. I don't know. I couldn't find it. But while I was looking through my stash, I came across this ball of yarn. And this is opal yarn that I bought when I visited the company where they produce the yarn. They have a little shop there, and they have some special colors that you can't usually get, and this was one of them. So this is like a black dragon color, but it's not part of any of the regular series. And I realized that the colors are quite similar for this yarn, and the gloves, mittens, I can never remember. And because of the black yarn that's in there, it also goes perfectly well with black. And so I decided I'm going to knit the hat with this color. So with the reversible hat, what you do is you can choose either two different yarns or different colors or different patterns, and you can knit one half like this and then the other half like that. But my idea has always been for this hat with the gloves is to knit less than half of the hat with this color and more than half with the black yarn. So what that means is I can, if I want to wear this as the main color, I can fold up the brim and have this color hat with a black brim. But if I choose to wear the black on the outside, I want enough black to be able to turn up the brim and have that be black as well. So I can have a completely black hat if I want to, or I can have a colorful one with a bit of black showing. So that's the plan for this. And again, it's a lot more boring to knit the black than the colorful yarn, so that's why I started with this. And with, as I explained in the video, it's a very, very simple hat where you don't do any increases or decreases or no provisional cast on. You just cast on 120 stitches. You knit twice the amount that you need, and then you can either run your thread through the stitches or you can cast off and then pull everything together, and then you pull the beginning and the end, you just pull together, and then you put one inside the other. You can sew them together, the beginning and end. I tend not to do it because if I wash the hat, I can just pull it out and have it dry with just 1 or 2 layers and not like the 4 layers. Yeah, so, and I also decided to knit the black in rib pattern. At first I wanted to do stockinette stitch and then only do the rib pattern for the edge part, but now I've decided I'll do the whole black thing in the rib pattern, and I'll do the complete colorful section in stockinette stitch. Yeah, so that's now the second knit along that I'm running and I'm doing, and I just realized that both knit alongs are worked with black dragon yarn at the moment, but that's going to change at some point. Yeah, so it's quite a few different projects from the ones that I showed the last couple of episodes, but maybe that's also quite nice to have a bit of a change, and then it'll be a surprise which projects I work on this week and I'll show next week, and then I can maybe switch around which projects I work on. But I will try not to cast on too many new projects. I'll try. I'm not promising anything. Okay, so now I've shown you what I knit and crocheted last week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.